Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Carl's Conversations, a safe place to have difficult conversations. We are still in our showcase of Black excellence. Now, normally, every year during Black History Month, as a tribute to our many local Black businesses on a different platform, I would do the Black Business Showcase. But this year, with so much going on in the USA and with so much Black excellence, I could not limit it just to Black History Month. It's too much excellence within us for us to be limited to 28 days. So, for as long as there is interest, there'll always be enough spotlight and enough Black excellence. But as long as there is interest and Carl's Conversations runs this series, we're going to do it. And here tonight, we have another spotlight, another showcase, and her name is young, talented, skillful, beautiful Miss JaCaia Ellis. We're so glad that she has taken time out of her schedule to come and sit with us and tell us about her story. This young lady, in my opinion, is a rising star. She has a tremendous acumen for business. Don't let the smooth taste fool you now. Very bright, very grounded, has a heart of gold. She is the founder of Positively Passionate, a 501c3 community help organization. I'm going to let her talk all about it. Really established to help the most vulnerable members of her local community. And I love the story of how it was born. It was born out of her own personal experiences. And it's something when you've been touched by your grandmother. See, those of us who have been raised or partially raised by those down home, down south grandmothers, I don't care what you say, they have an imprint on us that just never leaves. And no matter what you go through in life, you never forget those lessons from that lap, from on that couch, from that dining room table. You never forget those lessons. And then she's a scholar. Oh, yes, she's a scholar. I ain't gonna tell all her business. I'm gonna let her tell it. Tremendously educated, and not just when it comes to books and academia. That's one portion of education. And it's good to have that, but it's also good to be able to hold conversations and have a little bit of street sense, have some common sense, have some critical thinking skills. That's all a part of being learned. And young Miss Ellis has that also. She is a healthcare administrator who is on the move, upwardly on the move. And I've had the chance to work with her and in some cases work for her. I don't mind saying it. She about half my age. But when you're around talented, skilled people, hey, you don't stand in their way. What you do is you give them your shoulder and you let them stand on it and you be a part of their success story. And that's what I want to be for this young lady. I want to be a part of her success story. So ladies and gentlemen, come on with me and welcome Miss JaCaia Ellis. God bless you, young lady, and welcome to Carl's Conversations for the Black Excellence Showcase. How you doing today?
I am well. That was phenomenal. Thank you so much. I typically read my resume, but to hear it out loud, it's like, okay. So
You know
thank
what?
you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. You earned it. When you work hard and you keep your nose to the grindstone, you're not working patting yourself on the back. And we were always taught, let somebody else brag on you. You've done well. I've seen you be very humble in some situations where you could have been another way. And so I'm so happy to have you here so that we can broadcast what you're doing. Listen, it is an honor. Well, I forgot to do one thing. Listen, for those of y'all already with us in the live audience, do me a favor. Share with somebody. For those of you who are on Facebook with us, don't forget to tag someone. For those of you on YouTube, send that YouTube link to someone so they can come in. We don't want to keep it between us few. Come on, share that. Tell somebody JaCaia is on the air live. We're live right now on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube. We want to share and let everybody know that Carl's Conversations is on live, and we have a future superstar and Miss JaCaia Ellis. I want you to tell the audience something about yourself in your own words, and then we're going to go into some specific areas.
Oh, certainly. I think in that lovely resume, I don't know if I got too wrapped into what was being said, but most importantly, out of everything you listed, I'm a mom. My son just turned 8 last Friday, and it has been phenomenal. So I think with everything that comes behind JaCaia, let's not also forget the M in that master's is also for mom. For sure. But a little bit about me, just like Mr. Carl said, I am a homegrown country girl, small town kid, Sussex County to be exact. We have moved to the big city of Woodbridge and I guess the Northern Virginia area, but Sussex County will always be home for me. It is truly who I am today and what I have accomplished. And just to make a difference, I think, that town with one stoplight, one post office, and everybody knows who you are by your face. They could tell you your mother or your father or your grandmother just by looking at you. And I think in today's time, a lot of time we leave home and never return. And everybody has their differences. And I understand, why people choose to do that. I say that to say, I don't know if I'll return, but what I can do is give back in a most phenomenal way. I think everything that I've learned thus far in my career, in life, and I just experiences, I still have a long way to go and a lot to learn, but I think where I've come thus far and just being vulnerable and transparent and growing in different aspects, I think I'm on my way. And that's exciting. And as you also said, Mr. Carl, I am very humble, bashful. I don't do a lot of spotlights. That's kind of not my thing, simply because I know that God has a plan in everything that you do. So if you allow him to work, he will work for you, as you all work together. So I think no matter the amount of accolades that I have, the reason I am me is because I'm a small town kid, and that makes a difference in everything that I do, from greetings, from interactions, being able to be adaptable in any situation, corporate or, just regular life. I think it plays a big difference growing up as a country kid. And now that I have the opportunity to somewhat raise a city kid, it's very interesting because I think I failed as a mom a couple of weeks ago when he asked me, "What is kickball?" I said, "Okay, I'll tell you what kickball is. We're going to go and get a kickball and we're going to play kickball because that is a dynamic. I mean, the little things that make you who you are, just smart, starting with those smaller pieces. Like, I think him not knowing how to play kickball, I'm like, dude, we grew up on kickball. Like, what do you mean? So there's some things that I still have to bring back to him from my country to his city, but it's definitely an amazing journey. And still a ways to go, but I'm on my way for sure.
That is awesome. What made you want to pursue a career in healthcare? I really want to hear that story.
Interesting. It sounds cliche to say, but I have a cousin named Courtney. We used to say as girls, if you be my doctor, I'll be your lawyer. That was our thing. She is now a flight attendant, so things changed for some of us. But that, I guess, her always being witty and smart and me always wanting to help, that was the dynamic from the gate. Just always being over helpful, always wanting to step in and advocate, or as my fourth grade teacher would say, always wanting to tell somebody what to do. But in the retrospect, I mean, well, and as I grew up and got to know, exactly what is it that you want to do, I fell in love with science. Biology was my jam. My sixth grade science teacher, Miss Smith, made a big difference as to why I enjoyed biology. And then my eighth grade science teacher kind of kicked it over for biology as well. So I was like, okay, well, let's go a route of biology. I could kill two birds with one stone here. Something that I really enjoy. You're a country kid. You've been outside. What's worse than bugs? Like, it's biology. But as I continued to learn more, it wasn't just biology. It was the study of life. in every aspect. Everything is a living thing, and it has a mechanism that you have to break down to understand why it works the way it works. And something that my dad's mom used to say all the time, she was like, "Kaya, you are always asking why. Just why? Why do you want to know how everything works? Why do you need to know?" And my son does the same thing to me, which is hilarious. But I fell in love with science. Biology was my thing. I went to school, the illustrious Norfolk State University.
Behold.
Yes, okay. And I majored in biology pre-med, and at that time I was on the track to be like, okay, we can do this. Like, organic chemistry humbled me, but I was still on the right track to be successful in biology. And at the time, I had a phenomenal professor by the name of Miss Scott. Man, that lady laid into us for greatness. She set the bar of excellence and what excellence should be like as a African American student going out into the real world. She kind of sat down and said, "What do you all want to do with yourselves? Like, you all are majoring in biology. Of course, some of us will say, I want to be a doctor. I want to, be a nurse. Well, if you can't pass organic chemistry, what are you going to do?" So I was like, "Oh, okay." But again, at that point, say hi. Hi. Okay. That's the P in positively passionate. But I say that to say, I had great professors who pressured me into wanting to become something great. I originally started the track clinically for, like I said, biology pre-med. Later on, wanted to do physician assistants, but life had a different course for me, and I became a mom in the year of 17. So with me selecting, I have graduated with a bachelor's degree, but now I'm a mom. How do I juggle both? Can I do both? I don't know. But ultimately, my passion for life and helping and making a difference in advocacy, that's why I am in the field that I am in. And starting out with biology made me like, hey, treat people the way you want to be treated. It's a lot different when you see people as members and they're unable to advocate for themselves. But if you see yourself in a position that you can, do it. And that's how it kind of kicked off for me. I started clinically, and then I moved to administration. And when I tell you I am not upset, I love administration. Okay. I love it. I love it. I love it. I am where I'm supposed to be in my career field. I think there's nothing wrong with clinical at all. But I think just having the experience of both sides and seeing the things, I'm like, I think we have enough people over there. Let me figure out what I can do over here, because we have a lot of clinicians. And I think as an administrator, how clinicians work with administrators, we could make or break a situation now. I understand you all save lives, but we save businesses.
That's right. And as we go on this trailblazing journey with Black excellence, there is room for Black excellence everywhere. Now, my introduction to working in healthcare came in 2012. I have been a telecom professional since 1991, but from 1991 to 2012, I hadn't done that in the healthcare industry. So what I thought that I knew healthcare was had nothing to do with what it really was. And so to see so many Black healthcare professionals, still not enough, well, way more than what I thought it was. I think that we have to do a better job at letting minority children know that the healthcare industry is so wide open and so ready to receive Black and brown children, and there is room for us. And that's one of the many reasons why I wanted you to come on to share, what you're doing as a healthcare administrator. And as you know, last year at Centera Healthcare in Woodbridge, Virginia, we sponsored a summer program for young people to come through, and it was a phenomenal success. A lot of those young minority children in Prince William County got a chance to come through. I think it was for a whole week, and they got exposed to so many different fields in healthcare, and many of them did not know. They had no idea there was so much to do in healthcare. Usually, if you're not exposed to healthcare, what you think about is doctors and nurses. But you have no idea if a hospital only had doctors and nurses, if any healthcare facility only had doctors and nurses, it would cease to exist. You need all of those others specialties and disciplines to make a healthcare system work. And JaCaia is a very vital part of that, being a healthcare administrator. I'm gonna come back to that, but it's a crown jewel I really want to talk to you about, and that is this organization that you have founded, this Positively Passionate. I want you to talk about the burn in your belly that caused you to want to work with community advocacy and how this thing was birthed. Can you tell that story? Because I don't think anybody can really tell it like you.
Certainly. And thank you for asking. It goes back to that small town kid, as far as people leaving and not coming back. I always said, I'm going to do a community organization in my town. I'm going to do this. And life happens and things progress on you. You're like, well, when is it going to happen? So being that I'm not primarily at home in that area, I said, well, what can I do here? For one, it really amazed me to be this close to the Capitol and experience what we experience. The amount of homelessness around here is crazy. You can see it. Thank you, Bub. You can see it on TV and say like, oh, okay, that's one thing. But to actually walk by it every day, it is a humbling experience because, as I said, now I'm raising a city kid. So I'm having to show him like, hey, you are growing up differently than I am, and the importance of not being entitled. Being spoiled, blessed is what they call it. But that's one thing. But just to be able to be aware to know that everybody doesn't have the blessings that you have. Everybody doesn't have the exposure that you have. Everybody doesn't know what it's like to necessarily go home to a hot meal and things of that nature. So while I'm here, I was like, well, go for it. You're dragging your feet. The amount of information that I know, I'm like, you need to utilize it. So I'm like, what have you learned in your master's with social impact? How do you make a big difference with social change? What can you do to apply your skill sets outside of work? Like with my master's, I learned a lot, but I also learned the importance of that social change and addressing how you can do that, implementing the factors to be the change you want to see in your community. There are a million resources. You can ask a million people for things, but sometimes when you want something done, you just do it yourself. And that was the initiative that I took. Being the mother of an African-American boy, I want to make sure that if he was to ever fall on hard times in life, somebody got him somewhere. So that is how Positively Passionate came about. Being that the homelessness in this area is crazy. Women and children are always put first. Men kind of fall by the wayside. I am the mother of a brown boy. So what can I do to help this in some way? So, and not saying that women and children are not important, because yes, they are very, very important. But we also want to make sure that the men in the community matter too. I think you could always judge a book by its cover, but until you actually get to know somebody and take the time to see who they are, you may find out that their circumstances were not always that way. And with my slogan for Positively Passionate is remaining positive when it's hard. Like, you have to stay focused and have in some instances, have a smile on your face. Not literally, but in your mind, have that smile on your face, because you never know what people are experiencing, so you want to be a helping hand. You want to be able to, change someone's life in a positive way, because that could be the CEO today, and tomorrow this person is the homeless man on the street. So you always want to be humble yourself and know that anything could change at the split second. Without positive support, you may or may not change. But if you have those resources around you with people that look like you, you might receive it differently. hey, somebody in the community could look at me and say, oh, that reminds me of my sister, or that reminds me of my daughter, or that reminds me of my niece, you know.
Well, let me ask you this. Some people would look at this and look at your side of the screen and say, but she's just a baby. What could she possibly know about that part of life? Not in an insulting way, but you know, with age, you get life experience, you get wisdom, you learn how to do things. You're so young. And a lot of young people in your age bracket, they're not thinking in that space. I'm going to take a huge chunk of my time, talent, and efforts to try to set something up to take care, to take on another responsibility to pour out something that I may not have myself. So that's one thing that you're so young. I want to put that out there. What made you at this stage in your life say, I'm going to go for it now? And you're so young. And have you come up against any opposition as you're building it, as you are raising funds, as you're getting things done? Has your youth presented an obstacle for you?
So far, so good. Not yet.
Okay.
The support that I've received has been phenomenal. Just from everywhere. I was very, very surprised at the amount of support. Like, I'm still in awe that, you know, I'm like, what little people think of little old me? Like, okay, I'm here for it. But my main reason why is being from a small town, you don't see homeless people a lot. You might see your average bum on the corner, but you don't see homeless people a lot. And being that that's something that my kid was exposed to early on, I wanted to have him grow up with the understanding of what we would call a yard sale is for him is our monthly Goodwill trip. Like, I remember those Saturday morning yard sales. My grandma used to haul that stuff. We had to get everything ready, signs early morning. That was our way to give back, but also make a dollar. In this sense, give back. Because although I'm not looking to make a dollar, I'm going to be blessed regardless. And if I'm not going to be blessed, my son is going to be blessed regardless. My family is going to receive the blessings from this if I continue to pour out in the manner that I should. And I think it just comes from that country way of living is, you know, you treat people the way you want to be treated. You treat the mailman the same way you treat the CEO. You treat the janitor the same way you treat the cook. I pride myself even at work on knowing how to do everybody's job because that's a team initiative. Like I can't stand somebody to be like, I don't know how to do that. Well, okay, well, let's figure it out.
Right.
That team effort, knowing the importance of working together to try to, you know, get some resolve. And I think it's never about me. The mission is honestly bigger than me. And it starts with just one small imprint. You know, you say, well, when you leave here, what does your legacy say about you? I just want my baby to know that my mom was selfless and she would give you the shirt off her back. And he would probably give you the shirt off his back. And maybe that might change something for somebody, you know, a domino effect. You pay it forward. But I think it's in the world that we experience today, that camaraderie, that home village, that it kind of fizzles away. So in this age, I guess my friends and I are the new village.
You are.
Yeah, we have to make sure that we support each other, stick together, you know, for one another in the times that we face, because you have to have mutual parenting ideas because things are so different now. Like, mind you, I grew up, you could leave your door unlocked. You could probably go to your neighbor's house and get an egg out the refrigerator and just say, hey, like, I'm coming to get an egg. You know, you can't do that today.
Get shot.
Exactly. Down all the time. Like, and I didn't realize how bad I feared for my boy. We were in the grocery store just one random day, and I don't know why this ticks me off, but I can't stand when he leaves his hood on in the building. Like, and I know he probably just got out of the car, but I'm like, take your hood down. Because in my mind, I'm like, if you're a bear boy and you're in the hood, somebody's gonna assume anything. And that's the real transparency about it. Like, this is the world that we are in, and he could probably be the most mannerable boy. But times are different. So we just have to make sure that everything that you do and you set forward, you keep them in mind and make sure that they're protected in what you do and the fruits of my labor. If everybody benefits from that, I've done my part. Like, I don't
You
need
know,
any.
I've gone to your website. I've gone to your Facebook page. I've seen that you've done some interesting things in the community. To be quite honest with you, Positively Passionate has been way more busy than I thought. I thought I was keeping up with you, but when I took a look in preparation for this interview, I said, "Man, I got to do a better job." It's one thing for us to talk. This is kind of like what we do. Can you speak to some specifics about some projects that you've done in the community, some of the events that you have taken place within the community, and why you did them? You
Sure.
know, what events you did and why?
So, Positively Passionate was founded in October of last year. I was embarking on a new chapter of life. I had a birthday coming in December. And I was like, what am I going to do for my birthday this year? So I dedicated my 32nd birthday to my nonprofit, and my goal was to service 80 people in the homeless community. I ended up partnering with 2 Prince William shelters, for Lazo Shelter and golly gee, Streetlight Ministry Shelter. It's quite a few shelters within the proximity of Prince William. So I was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. But before doing that, again, utilizing my resources that I had through Centera as operations coordinator, I had the opportunity to network with Mr. Carl and get on some boards and meet great people to get me in the direction of my resources. So in those boring meetings that we would have, I would listen and soak up what I could and apply it to my nonprofit because, like I said, I know too much. So I'm like, how can I apply this? I reached out to people. I found my resources. I network with my colleagues. John is amazing. I told him what I wanted to do, and he was like, "What?" Number one, supportive was awesome. I started preparing for our winter drive. Didn't know what to expect, but I was like, "I'm gonna go for it. This is, my goal. Let's shoot for the moon." I told my friends, I was like, "Hey, my birthday party is gonna look different this year. We're doing community service. Like, this is what's going on." And I received donations from Costco, from Wegmans. I ended up servicing 100 people. That day, we did a morning breakfast and we did a night kind of luncheon. So they like the people were able to have, quick snacks. We filled backpacks with thermal blankets, hand sanitizer, toiletries. There were proteins, crackers, drinks, hats, gloves, toothpaste, toothbrush, combs, and chapstick. So the list went on just to prepare those who didn't necessarily have that home or, the resources that they needed for winter. Because again, if you are familiar with the Prince William area, off of Opitz Boulevard, there are some like tents in the wooded areas. And these are things that my son would ask me about. He's like, "Mom, do people live there?" And I'm like, "Well, that's home for someone. Everybody's circumstances are different." So as I started to see that, I'm like, okay, well, let's make sure if the shelter runs out of room, if they're at capacity, at least a thermal blanket will at least try to hold them for the night. At least a hat and gloves, they'll be able to cover their extremities. So, hypothermia won't set in, things like that. And I was so surprised, like I said, the outpour of support from the community alone. I'm not even considering my family. I actually told my family, I said, "You all don't do anything." I said, "I don't want you all to do anything because, of course, your family, they're going to buy all your shirts. The design could be horrible and they're going to buy all your shirts." I said, "I do not want you all to do anything. I want to do this by myself." And the amount of people that showed up, I'm still amazed. Like, they shared it. They did what they could do when I said don't do anything, but they shared it word of mouth, Facebook, things of that nature. And so many people, even on my LinkedIn, I had strangers supporting my cause. And I was just like, oh, this is amazing. So we kicked off in December, and that was our first event. And being that Positively Passionate is still fairly new, I don't want to burn myself out with juggling everything. So I do events quarterly. And then for this year of 2025, being that March was Women's History Month, I said, well, let's focus on families a little bit because, in full transparency, Positively Passionate is geared to support, yes, lower socioeconomic status, those in need of resources, but primarily it focuses on men. And because of my boy, it's all because of my boy. If I might have had a daughter, it might be different, but but it is because of my boy, just to make sure that they are always included. And to go back to what I was saying as far as March, we were able to do a hot breakfast at the community shelter Hildebarg. And that's a family shelter, and that's about 40 individuals there, a few into few different families and children and things of that nature. And we was again received donations from Wegmans and Costco and a couple different other people to make it happen. The first weekend was March 8th. We did like hot breakfasts. So we did pancakes, eggs, we did turkey, bacon, and sausage, juice, fresh fruit, and things of that nature. And the community loved it. They were so appreciative. They were really grateful. I also unlocked a new skill I didn't know I had. Apparently, I'm good for cooking for large parties. No, I'm not a caterer, but hey, add it to the list. Okay. um, but yeah, like that was the first event. And then being that we did 2 breakfasts that month, the second time we did something different. We did breakfast sandwiches. So we did like breakfast biscuits and we did like breakfast croissants and like egg and cheese and like your standard baked breakfast sandwiches. And they had like a protein bar and a drink, and it was wrapped so that if they wanted to, you eat it later, they could. You didn't necessarily have to have it right then and there. And I wanted to give them that flexibility to have that option if they wanted to eat now or later, not to feel pressure like, oh, these people are here, we have to eat now, or something like that. So that was our third event. We have completed 3 events thus far. Like I said, I started in October. My next event will be in June, so I will be sure to let you know what's to come. But I'm really excited because, like I said, I know a lot to not be doing something.
Right.
The amount of resources that I have, the amount of knowledge that I have obtained and that I continue to be blessed with. I want to be able to pour it out. And I think it makes a difference with, like you were saying, like in our community, when you talk about healthcare, it's always that physician line. But I think that week when we did the exposure with the kids and for the summer camp, like it was great to be able to participate and show them that, like, hey, there are other things. Because I remember one of the girls, she said, "What do you do all day?" I said, "Sit pretty, honey." And that is honestly because it's never work when you enjoy what you do. And I
Yeah.
have really been blessed to say I do everything I went to school for. And I say that proudly because nobody can take any ounce of knowledge that I have. I
That's right.
earned it, I studied for it, like, and that's something that I will always continue to instill in my boy. You never want to be the smartest person in the room, but you want to be around some smart people.
That's right. Let me ask you, how have you done with partnerships? Is a difficult thing when you try to toe the line like this by yourself. How have you done with partnerships?
Honestly, the communication world that we're in now with calls and emails, everybody is so willing to hand out their phone number. It's not bad. I think for me, applying my day-to-day skill sets as an operations manager and implementing that into my nonprofit is just like you dot your I's, you cross your T's, you close your loops, you have your follow-ups. Document. So that way you can, hold people accountable for the things that they said that they wanted to do with you. And I think what I've enjoyed the most, this is all God's work. Because when you ask me, you say, what challenges and what obstacles have I faced? Knock on wood, but I have been blessed to say that I have hit the ground rolling and I have not experienced anything to say, this is not what you're supposed to be doing. I have only received opportunities to say, like, you are on the right track and this is what you're supposed to be doing. So let me continue to allow you to do what you're supposed to be doing. And if there's something that is going to give you a hurdle, I will let you know how to pivot. But right now, it has been smooth sailing. Even my resources as being the elementary participant of the PTSO, using those resources, reaching out to those people, being, using all the relationships that I have to network, not just in one space. Like, I don't just know this lady from the PTSO, or I don't know just this man from work, or I don't know this lady from the grocery store. I have met so many people just in this proximity to be able to network and communicate off of the strength of saying, oh, hello, I like your shirt. That is my opener. I will compliment. And it's not like a generic compliment, because I'm probably going to watch this person for a little bit to see, like, what can I learn from this person? Like, this is someone.
It's an open door. It's about relationships. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let me say this to the audience. As you can see, JaCaia is really positively passionate about Positively Passionate. This is genuine. So if you are interested in working with her, whether that means partnering with her to bring her connectivity with people who can add their time, talent, and resources, whether that is through food donations, material donations, it could be monetary donations. Hey, listen, whether you got us here on Twitter or on YouTube, on Facebook, we're streaming live on those 3 platforms. Please add your information to the chat, or you can go to the Positively Passionate website. You can contact JaCaia that way. You can go to the Positively Passionate Facebook page. You can contact her that way. You certainly can leave something on this chat. And also, if you want to be a financial contributor, I'm going to, I don't know how to do that directly, but JaCaia knows. I'm going to let her tell you that. But let this be a way for us to make connectivity. And listen, some of you are saying, listen, I don't have the time to make a consistent commitment. Listen, I'm one who understands that I have to be very careful about the commitments that I make now, because I'm very busy. But one thing we can do, like Too Short said, you get in where you fit in. You help out where you can. Well, maybe your calendar for June is full. You might not be able to help out with the June event. But what you may be able to do is you may be able to make a phone call for her. Why don't you find out what she's doing for the June event, and see if you can make some phone calls for her. Maybe whatever she's doing, someone who can help her out. Or maybe you can go to this Cash App link that I'm about to post up here, and maybe you can be one of those persons who can make a donation to make it possible for her to purchase some of the items. These are things that we do to form community and to continue in the community, right? So she's doing it. She's heading it up. She's carrying the responsibility on her shoulders. At least, the very least that we can do is to help out. Even if you have to step in here and there, please do what you can. I've posted some information. There is the website for Positively Passionate. And then there's the donation link, the Cash App link right there. And I think before the night is over, I'm going to make me a donation too. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm excited for you. I really, really am. Lord knows. Now, I know we haven't talked about this a whole lot, but I have to touch it. You are a scholar. I know that you have a bachelor's degree in biology. Is that correct?
Yes.
You have a master's of health administration.
Yes.
And from your own mouth, you said you're using these credentials. Is there anything on the horizon?
I am actively working on my doctoral degree in health administration as well. Humbly. I am this close to the finish line, and I am very excited. It is my last thing to check off the list. It is the last conversation that my grandfather and I had when he said, "Are you going back to school?" I said, "No, Papa." He said, "Well, Dr. Ellis don't sound bad." I said, "It do got a ring to it." So that has been my activation and motivation for my victory lap. Some more to come, because I think I probably won't go back to school for anything else, but who knows? However, I'm ecstatic because my son was 3 when I received my master's, and he'll be 9 when I
Oh
receive
man.
my doctoral degree. So
So let me ask you, because I'm sure there's going to be some young people who are going to get a hold of this interview, and I want them to be able to share your vision. I was looking at something earlier today. I saw this on TikTok, and there's been a discussion of late of why there are not more young Black men in college. And what this brother said was so phenomenal. He said, I'm a retired Army guy. And I'm a retired Army guy because my dad was in the Army. And I had a lot of successes in life because I watched my dad do it. He said, and a lot of times we do what we have proximity to see. And so I'm about to ask you, when you finish your doctorate, what do you plan to pursue in healthcare administration? If I were to ask you, you said you just celebrated your 32nd birthday. When you celebrate your 42nd birthday and then your 52nd birthday, where will Dr. Ellis be in her healthcare career with that Master's of Health Administration and that Doctorate of Health Administration? Where will those credentials take you in your career?
I think for my SMART goals right now, I will probably continue on into my career as a health administrator and focus on more of director roles. I'm not sure if it'll be for a healthcare facility or, an outpatient facility. It just depends. Who knows? But that is one of my SMART goals for sure. I think when you say for the longevity of it, I think I would love to be able to, we'll say teach, let's say, but we'll also, take the initiative to mentor. That's actually something that I'm working on right now. My mentee is to be assigned to me to assist them on their doctoral journey. So I want to be able to utilize the skill set that I have, but also be able to help someone that looks like me. I'm a first generation grad. So when you say, you ask the question, why don't we have more of this person in school? You got to want it. You want to be able to say like, all right, how can I help them? What can I show them? You cannot take everybody with you, but you can kind of say like, all right, what can I bring back to them and show them, that you can do this. There's a difference. It makes a big difference. And I think for me, being that first generation and not saying like, hey, this is what this looks like. It was more of a like, them Barbies that they selling, Barbie Dream House and, Barbie Flight Attendant and, Barbie this. And I'm like, I might could do that. And then they came out with that movie Life Size. And it's like, oh, you can really be anything you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to set your mind to it. You got to.
JaCaia, that's why I'm doing this series. This is why I'm doing the Black Excellence Showcase. When you look at the climate in our nation right now, and I know that the federal level is what's getting all the spotlight, but the spotlight is there because of the upswell from what started local, state, and it pushed its way there. And you know what's going on. I know what's going on. And of course, I want to showcase Black excellence, not only for us, but this is also one of my ways to protest and to resist, to be able to tear down the lies that are being told about us being ignorant and about us being lazy and about us being jailbirds and about us being dope heads and all of that nastiness that we know is untrue. Those kind of things, they lie in every community, regardless of ethnicity, race, culture, nationality. But to put it on us as if we run a special on that type of thing, No, no. And that's why I'm doing this spotlight. And I keep saying to people, we don't have to cast a spotlight to people whose names are already in on the marquees, because we know people who are really working in Black excellence right now. And that's why I reached out to you and I asked you to come and have an episode in this series, because I really do believe that you are exercising your life in Black excellence, and really excellence, period. You just happen to be a Black woman. But what you're doing is an exercise and a model of excellency. And anybody who wants to follow what you're doing, regardless of their ethnicity, race, culture, or nationality, you have been a pace setter, especially for your age group. And I am so glad that our paths have crossed. I'm so glad to be a part of your story. I'm so glad that you're a part of this story. And I'm so glad that you have a documented episode in this series for people to see that a young woman of color, who some may have said, look at her, young single mother. You see? But look what happens when you don't stop reading the book at the beginning. When you know that the final chapter has not been written yet, even when you hit a bump in the road, when you can take the lemons of life and add those things that grandmama taught us, and you can make lemonade, right? And you can take those things that may have hurt us, that may have been obstacles, that may have been stumbling blocks, and you can turn them into something that become a strength, not only for you, but out of some of your pain in life came positively passionate. And now your pain becomes someone else's help and pleasure. And let me tell you, to me, that is excellence. Yes.
You're gonna not make me cry. I'll tell you that. But thank you. Like I said, I don't know what else I would be doing if I didn't do what I did today, if I didn't continue to go to school, if I didn't continue to want to learn more, to try to make a difference. Because I think that's how it's typically showcased, as a minority, you don't know anything. They put you in these places and they, be seen, not heard. And I think that's just only motivation, that you want to keep getting in these spaces. But know that you will hear me. And know that when you hear me, you are going to get all of this education and all of this sass and all of this niceness as well. There is a Maya Angelou quote, and it is my favorite. And it's so crazy because it is, before I knew it was a nursing quote, well, a quote that they use a lot in nursing. It's a quote that my grandma used to say all the time. She was like, because my name is JaCaia, your name is going to be tore up. They can call you everything. They can call you Jackie. They can call you JaCaia. They can call you everything but JaCaia. But know that they may forget your name, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And that is that Maya Angelou's quote that she utilized in her time as a nurse. And I think it makes a big difference. Because, yeah, that's my mantra. And I can believe and stand firm to say that. And in any room that I walk in, you might not say JaCaia right, but by the time she's gone, you're going to say, remember that young lady that was here? I'm going to let my light shine in every way that I possibly can. And despite if I was able to receive this opportunity to say who I am or where I'm going, I would still humbly just do what I do. And even if there was a struggle, like I said, there are a number of resources that I could reach out and utilize. And they could say yes or no, but that would not deter me or change my passion to make sure that I make a difference. Because at the end of the day, if you all could see how proud my boy is, I'm satisfied.
He's beaming. We can see it. Well, listen, y'all. This is JaCaia Ellis. I've got on the screen right now how you can get into contact with her website, that Positively Passionate .my.canva.site. That is the website. It is a beautiful website. You can also find Positively Passionate on Facebook. Go there. There's some information, some pictures of some of the events, a few videos. You can see a lot of information. And listen, for those of you who want to donate, go to Cash App, $ Positively Pass, $ Positively PASS. And that's how you can make a donation. Listen, if you're able to make a commitment to this organization, may I encourage you to do it. I'm going to make a commitment. I'm just not going to do it on the air because me and JaCaia know each other, right? And so I am going to make a pledge. I'm also going to give her some money because I believe in what she does. And she's part of my community and I'm part of her community. And that's what you do. And it's not only about money, but sometimes we can show up. I may not be able to be involved in all the planning because my schedule is packed. But you know what? I can take a few hours out of a Saturday and show up. And for other Black men, let me say something to you. Our presence is so important. There's a whole lot of folks who need to see Black men to show up, to be positive, to be present, and to be in a space where we can mentor. And so let me encourage you, if you have room in your heart, in your pocket, in your calendar, to be of help to this young lady and what she's doing through this nonprofit organization, let me encourage you to do so. So whether you're seeing this in the live audience or whether you catch this in the playback or one of the 2025 clips I'm going to put out, please, if you find it in the kindness of your heart, go to the website. You can Google her, Positively Passionate. Her name is JaCaia Ellis. Do what you can, all right? Because she is helping the most vulnerable members of the community. And so when you help her, you're helping her to help others who may not have another place to turn to. The Bible calls them the least of these. And Christ said, what you do to the least of these, you've done also unto me. But he also said, what you did not do for the least of these, you didn't do it for me either. And so on Judgment Day, I want to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. I'm trying to make it, my young sister. I'm trying to make it. All right. So listen, y'all be supportive. Listen, I want to give you the microphone before we go. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't. If there's something I didn't cover, maybe something you wanted to get off your chest and say to the audience, here's your opportunity to do so.
Thank you all so much. First and foremost, taking the time to even hear what I have to say, to be intrigued and joining tonight. I ask that if you all have it in your hearts to make any kind of donation, time, monetary, it makes a big difference with the community. All the proceeds are focused towards, supporting our events within the community and things of that nature. And more ways to continue to make my boy proud. I think if you check out my website, it's a couple different links. The full story is there. If you're a reader, go for it. You will learn a lot more. And that is another way to stay updated, to see what's going on in the know. I ask that you pray. You keep us in prayer. Positive prayers always make a difference. As I continue to embark on my career journey, academics, and as well as being a mom. So I thank you all so much again for your time, Mr. Carl. I thank you. Yes, this is family. You pour into me. You truly are a mentor, and the resources that you provide and get me in the right direction. I am so grateful to have this kind of support, to have this village. And I want to continue to make you all proud. So just stand by. I thank you all so much. And, prepare for what's to come.
All right. We are cheering for you. All right, y'all. Stay tuned, because we're going to keep on with the Black Excellence Showcase. We have so much more. I got some stuff coming for y'all. Ooh, wee. But listen, stay tuned. We have more coming. We thank God for Miss JaCaia Ellis and that young man. I can see great things coming from him. He's got a mama that is showing him some great things. And so we're going to keep our eyes and ears on Miss JaCaia Ellis and that Positively Passionate organization. And we're going to have you back in a little while so we can check on progress. Hopefully we can have you back after that June event so we can see what's going on with your organization and check up on you. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Everybody, remember, tell somebody about Carl's Conversations. Tell somebody about this Black Excellence Showcase. If what we're doing here has been beneficial to you, hey, take that link, whether it was on YouTube that you caught us or on Facebook or on Twitter, share it with someone so they can come on in with us to the Black Excellence Showcase. And listen, you may be worthy of the spotlight of Black excellence. So if you're in the audience and you're saying, well, what about me? Well, call me, contact me. You can catch me at carlsconversations@gmail.com. You can go to Carl's Conversations on Facebook. But if you're here on YouTube, you already got that link. Reach out and we'll talk about it. All right. Until next time, y'all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Don't work too hard. As a matter of fact, work smarter and not harder. Don't let any of this craziness, don't let any of this craziness on TV get you down. All right. Remember, these jobs that some of you have lost, they were the resource. The God we serve is the source. All right. Go in peace until next time. Good night, everybody. See y'all later.